People often say wild animals will always avoid humans. I used to believe that too, until one morning I opened my curtains and found a tiny groundhog sitting on my front steps, staring through the window as if he was waiting for me to wake up. I thought it was just a coincidence, but he came back the next morning and the morning after that. 4 years later, he was still showing up at my door. What I never expected was that one day, this little groundhog would bring a new friend and eventually his own family to meet me. The first time I saw him, he was just a baby groundhog. He stood on the steps with his head tilted, quietly studying everything inside my house. Sometimes he would sit there for 20 or 30 minutes, simply watching through the glass as if he were trying to understand the human world. At first, I stayed inside and watched from a distance. I was afraid that if I opened the door too soon, I would scare him away forever. But to my surprise, he came back every single day. Somehow, his curiosity was stronger than his fear. One morning, I finally placed a little food on the front steps and stepped back. He slowly inched forward, carefully checking his surroundings before taking his first bite. That simple moment became the beginning of a routine neither of us ever expected. I started calling him Cutie because the name fit him perfectly. Before long, Cutie learned that my front steps were a place where good things always happened. From then on, almost every morning I would open the curtains and find Cutie already waiting outside. Some days he arrived before I even woke up, patiently sitting there as if he knew I would eventually appear. As time passed, I discovered Cutie had very strong opinions about food. Bananas were easily his favorite. If I brought out something else, he'd sniff it, then look up at me with an expression that seemed to say, "Really? No bananas today?" It always made me laugh. I never imagined a wild animal could have so much personality. Day by day, Cutie quietly became part of my life. We never touched, I never tried to tame him, we simply shared a few peaceful moments every morning, and somehow a friendship grew between us. One year passed, then 2, then 3. By the 4th year, Cutie was still faithfully returning to the exact same front steps. The tiny baby groundhog I first met had grown into a healthy adult, but one thing never changed: he always remembered where to come back. Then one day I noticed another groundhog standing at the edge of my yard. He stayed much farther away, clearly nervous and unsure. Unlike Cutie, he wasn't ready to come close.
Cutie.
What fascinated me was watching Cutie lead the way. After seeing Cutie calmly walk onto the porch and eat without any danger, the newcomer slowly gathered enough courage to move a little closer each day. I eventually named him Dustin. Watching Dustin learn by following Cutie's example felt almost like watching an older brother teach a younger one where to find food, safety, and kindness. Before long, Dustin became a regular visitor too. Most mornings I'd find the two of them waiting together on the steps, patiently expecting breakfast, as if it had become part of their daily schedule. But the biggest surprise was still ahead. Eventually, Cutie found a mate and later became a father. Every now and then, I'd catch sight of tiny young groundhogs running across the yard, and I couldn't help wondering if they were Cutie's babies. Little by little, my backyard became busier than ever. A small wooded area behind my house brought all kinds of wildlife. Chipmunks, wild turkeys, and plenty of other visitors started stopping by. I often joked that my front steps had become a little wildlife restaurant. The part that touches me the most is knowing that Cutie has an entire forest where he could spend his days, yet he still chooses to come back. He's not trapped, he's not dependent on me. He's completely free, and after all these years, he still decides to stop by and visit an old friend every morning. I think that's what makes this story so special. Friendship doesn't always need words or constant closeness. Sometimes it's simply a wild animal remembering the way back, and a person who never stops opening the door with a smile. Every time I see Cutie waiting outside my window, I'm reminded that the strongest bonds aren't built through ownership. They're built through kindness, respect, and the freedom to choose to come back.